This episode of Film Riot is brought to you by Domain.com.
Today on Film Riot, we're talking multicam shoots and cinematography with the very talented Ryan Booth. Welcome to Film Riot, the show that takes the mystery out of the effects and techniques that goes into your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and before we get into it, happy Turkey Day to all who celebrate, and a little reminder, tomorrow is Black Friday, and our Triune store is jumping all up on that. Almost all of our digital assets, like our gun sounds, fight sounds, and music pack, are going to be 50% off all day long, half off all day long, and we are going to be doing flash sales on things throughout the day, so follow the Triune Store Twitter right here so you can catch some of the crazy sales, like 75% off that we'll be doing at random, and we'll be doing the same on Cyber Monday, which is this coming Monday, December 1st, so there's your reminder. But today is going to be a little bit different as we have a great interview with Ryan Booth. For you guys who don't know who Booth is, he is a director and cinematographer based in Houston. He's a creator and director of the music series Serial Box and has worked on a bunch of music videos, short films, and a feature called This Is Where We Live. Beyond being a crazy talented filmmaker, he's also someone who moves between budgets, so he's no stranger to big projects with larger crews and passion projects with skeleton crews and no money. And more than almost anyone else I've seen, Ryan can make $100 look like $100,000. So I've been wanting to sit down and chat with him for a while. So a few weeks back, I headed over to Houston to watch Ryan shoot a session with Noah Gunnarsson for his Serial Box TV pilot, and had the chance to sit down with him after that to chat a little bit about Serial Box, filmmaking in general, and so on. So enjoy the interview.
Logo. Serial Box, we started a few years ago, and it's basically a live one-take music performance project where we would invite bands in. We'd have 5 or 6 cameras, gear you'd find on a movie set, audio equipment you'd find in a recording studio, and we would do these sessions basically where we'd have bands play a more acoustic version of one of their songs, and we would multi-track it and multicam capture it and create these kind of relatively elaborate performance videos. Kind of as a larger concept, we've kind of recently started doing truly live streams of some of our sessions, and then that has kind of led us into really wanting to tell a longer form version of the Serial Box story, so that it's not just the performance, but that we can do interviews and documentary segments with bands and kind of change up the way we do one takes, and that kind of by combining all those things together, we realized like we have the makings of a TV show, basically. And so that's what kind of Serial Box has been pushing towards over the last couple years of the project. My general rule for Serial Box is that we have 1 more camera than band members. That generally means 4 to 6 cameras at any given time. The kind of cameras that we use don't matter. The thing that matters the most is the number of them, and ideally the number of them that are matched. So my general rule is if you have mixed cameras, we try and put similar cameras on similar kinds of shots. So if I have 3 FS100s and 2 5Ds, then I'll make sure that my 2 close-up cameras are 5Ds and all the rest of them are FS100s, so that our close-up shots feel the same and our wide shots feel the same, and that kind of tricks your brain into feeling like it's all one camera. The main concern with any camera is what is the dynamic range, and how dark can I shoot it? Because I tend to like to shoot pretty dark, and so with the 5D, we just had to make sure that our dynamic range was very compressed, maybe 8, 9 stops of light between the darkest places and the brightest places. And so now we're shooting primarily with Canon cinema cameras. Yesterday we had 5 C300s and 1 C100. And so with those, we've been using them long enough now that we kind of know we've got a little bit more latitude and our lighting will reflect that. But we still want it to have the very distinct look. It's just how much wiggle room do I have in terms of shadow detail and highlight detail. I got into filmmaking on the kind of riding the 5D wave. Prior to the 5D coming out, I was a photographer, and then prior to that I was an audio engineer. And so I hadn't quite landed on what I was wanting to do. And the 5D came out, and my first call was to friends of mine that shot video, because I got asked, like, you know, you have the camera, people are like, oh, you do photography, can you do video too? And one of my early mentors kind of said from the beginning, if someone asks you if you know how to do something, the answer is always yes, and then you use the time between saying yes and when you have to do it to figure out how to do it. And so I said yes to a video project, not knowing how to shoot video. And so my first call was to a handful of friends of mine that did shoot video. And I got everybody together. I just happened to know musicians. So I said, I can bring some musicians in. I actually know how to engineer as well. So I'll bring like a little small recording set in. We can just have the musicians play. It was literally a, can I get a bunch of people together that can kind of jumpstart my like education in filmmaking? And the reason that I asked musicians and the reason we recorded them is because from the beginning I knew I'm asking people to give me something, whether that be time, knowledge, their attention, honestly. I wanted everyone to be able to walk away from that experience with something. So if the musicians are going to be sitting there for a couple hours while we're lighting and working on camera angles, then like let's record something for them so that when they leave they've got like this little recording or whatever. If you have something you want to accomplish and you're asking people to do it for low cost, you are the person who should be giving the most. People should know that like no one will work harder than you will, and that no one will want this thing to succeed more than you will, and that end of the day, like if there's a burden to be carried, it is your job to carry that burden. It is much easier to pull off a music video than it is to pull off a serial box in the kind of upfront preparation time. On the post-production side, way harder to make a music video than it is to make a serial box. For the Owl City music video, it's about coming up with the concept, basically. And for that song, which is such a highly narrative-driven song, the lyrics are so specific that you have to have a general action happening because the specificity of the song will be kind of imposed upon whatever you show them. I wanted to have a loose action that kind of served as the foil for the lyrics, basically. That like them, it's a girl like digging in the ground. It's not that big of a deal. But then when on top of it, he's saying, my dad left me when I was a kid and my life is terrible, and like kind of that coming to grasp with the kind of seriousness of the situation with her dad or whatever, like then her digging in the ground like has a whole other meaning. The first thing I ask when I walk on set, and the actors there and the directors there, is here's what they're gonna say, but what are they gonna do? And that's blocking. Like where are the actors gonna be in this scene, and relative to that, then where am I gonna be in this scene and how is it gonna play out? Some directors say, I don't really care, like wherever the actor kind of feels like he needs to go. So a lot of times when that happens, there's pretty significant amount of rehearsal that happens, at which point I don't take a camera in, I just sit and watch them kind of work their way through the scene. And then the second thing I do is I look where the light is kind of already falling in the room, and I'll make a few immediate suggestions. Hey man, if it's not super important that you're standing over here when that happens, can you stand over here? Because that switching from one side to the other of a room literally may do 75% of the lighting for you. When you start out in filmmaking, which is in fact the ultimate team sport, filmmaking is something that to truly accomplish something awesome is impossible to do by yourself. And so the thing that you have to do is be able to convey your idea to other people. That is the most important thing in filmmaking. Whether you're like a DP, it doesn't matter if you're an actor, a director, if you're like a gaffer. Like you have to be able to say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish in such a way that you motivate the other people who are the ones who can help you accomplish that you can convey that vision to the point that everyone is moving towards the same end goal. And I think it is really difficult because when you start out in filmmaking, a lot of times you are working by yourself. And that can never be the goal. Like that, because you won't accomplish anything great if you're doing everything by yourself. It's just not possible. Like, and that's kind of like a hard thing to realize, but it's just true. So then the friction or the difficulty as you kind of move forward in filmmaking is when you get in a situation in which you have to convey your ideas. And I think for a director, that the most difficult transition point is when they start working with a DP, because they now have to convey their ideas to a very key collaborator who can take those ideas in a very different direction. I was on a shoot in which a director wanted foreground element, in the shot, and it did not make any sense at all. And I couldn't understand, like, why do you want the foreground element? It's not like, I mean, if you want me to shoot like through block stuff, then that's fine. That's totally fine. I don't understand why you want it. And at the end of the day, he didn't know why he wanted it either, but he was just like, just do it. And that is a very toxic relationship between a director and a DP. There should not be a, I'm the boss, just do it. If you have to say that, you lost a long time ago. If you're just starting out as a filmmaker, literally the hardest part for anyone is, on any level, is the starting, literally getting started. The first thing you ever shoot, the first thing you ever write, the first thing you ever are a part of, that you're like, this is my idea and I want to do it. I think the first step is the hardest part. And so a lot of times why people say write what you know or something like that is because that is the most successful way to start. For me, I came from a music background, I came from a photography background. I mean, Serial Box is my write what you know moment, basically. And so I feel like for guys who are just starting out and for girls who are just starting out, that what are the things that you know more about? What are the things that you are most passionate, most interested in that someone else may not know, that someone may not have experience with? And I think it's really easy to pass right over it, you know, and go like, I want to shoot Interstellar. My kid brother, like, who is like an incredible basketball player, like is gonna be on a state basketball team this year. That's interesting to me. That's interesting, like what you have access to him in this hypothetical situation, like at 4 o'clock in the morning. If you're interested in documentary production, like you got a great starting place. Start right there. Start right there with this thing that you have access to. Because it is such an uphill battle to make a film of any kind, whether that be a documentary, a narrative, a music video. It could be 60 seconds long. It's so hard to make them that I think that kind of like needing some help right out of the gate, you know, as you start out, a lot of that, I just think it's literally, whatever that thing is for whoever's watching this, is probably right under your nose. It's there, the building blocks and the starting things that you need are right in front of you. It's just a matter of kind of identifying and then making the first step.
Domain.com is the place to go if you're trying to get yourself a website to put on the internets, because that's where websites go. They got the hosting services that are reliable
Ryan.
and affordable. What, Josh?
How are you doing?
Good.
You sitting over there
Standing.
doing an ad?
They got the domain discovery service to help you pick the right name for you. Thanks. What?
Like your t-shirt.
When you use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout, you get 15% off your domain name and web hosting. When you think domain names, think domain.com.
Hey, Riot.
What?
You.
That's more like it.
Logo.
Thanks again to Ryan Booth for taking the time to talk to us. If you want to see the full uncut interview with all kinds of good info, go right here. The link is also in the notes. If you want to see some of his Serial Box episodes, which you definitely do, trust me on that, go right here. Music, good music, and beautiful images. And follow the Booth on the Twitters right here. But that is it for today. I'll see you guys next week when I kill a lot of people over my dog in a car.